you want to participate in the technological development, all those kind of things, what is happening, something new in the world. So when you are young, you have those kind of interest too much. And then, of course, side benefit is that you get paid for doing all that activities. And so it has its own value, and you need money because you have to take care of your family. So that's what it is. But retirement is good that now you can reflect what you have done, something you haven't got chance to do in the past, which is quite normal because you were busy. Now you can do it. Now you have time to do it, like travel. People travel a lot. In America, people travel. They learn how to dance in this age, like in after retirement in 55, 60, so that they can dance in the retirement. They go for walk and all those sports which they have missed. So that is how fishing is one of the very important sports in this country. Everybody, most of the people have very much interest in fishing. So you'll see them that many of them have their boats. This country is full of lakes, so they and rivers. They would go for boating and all that. So that's how people enjoy their time. It's spending time with children, grandchildren, partying. So uh, life is pretty much busy. Sometimes they help their grandchildren or children. So that's how the time is spent, and then of their own things, whatever they want to do. Like for example, I told you that I'm going to a class in Sanskrit, and there are retirees from at least 10, 15 countries there who are learning Sanskrit. So you can imagine it is online class, and people go to learn Sanskrit. I'll post a picture. Let me find one of my class teacher teaching the Sanskrit grammar right now. So you'll see it. Let me find something, and then I'll share with you guys. That's it. Continue.
Yes, sir. First time I see Princip. Prince. Hello. Please say something about yourself first.
Hello,
Yeah, you are audible. Say
Yes,
something.
hello.
please say something about yourself.
I said, can you listen to me? My name is Prince. I'm from Angola. Hello, guys.
Yes,
Hello.
please say something about yourself. Yes, yes, Jamanji.
Yeah, guys. Uh, I'm telling something, but it seems like you are not understanding me.
Okay, okay, Jamanji.
Yeah. Good evening.
So you know Princip.
No, no, I don't know. First time I have seen Principi. Principi.
Look, this is my first time. It's my first time to be here. I'm from
Uh,
Angola. Do you
and go.
understand?
Okay, okay.
Just give me
Yes,
1 minute,
yes.
guys. Hello, Pankaj ji. Just give me 1 minute. Pankaj ji, ne today na just right now na I have sent your just a Google Meet link on another group, WhatsApp group. I just done this thing, okay, sir. So that's why some people are coming from another Google, just another WhatsApp group, sir.
Okay,
Look,
okay, okay. No issue. Jamanji, please
Yeah,
talk with Princip. Yes.
that
Yeah.
first of
okay,
all,
okay.
I think Jaman ji,
Look,
can you just introduce your introduction? After that, It means we will get to your introduction, brother.
Okay, thank you. Uh, my my name is Jaman. I'm from Bangladesh, and
Brother, can you
I'm an
just speak
employee.
more louder? Because we can't understand. We can't hear your voice.
Okay, I'm trying. Actually, I'm speaking loudly. Maybe it's matter of network. Okay,
Yeah,
so
maybe.
am I audible to you
No,
now?
you are audible. Please continue, Jamanji. Yes.
Okay, okay. So as you told me, I have to speak something about myself. So I'm Jaman from Bangladesh. I'm a employee, and I'm 47. Actually, I'm very interested to learn, improve my spoken English. That's why I'm in this platform. And though I'm a member of this platform long time, I'm not regular due to my job nature. Actually, to spare the time, it is very difficult for me. That's why I'm not joining here. But today, I can see there is Mr. Pankos and Mr. Amarnath. We know each other very well. But Mr. Orun and Mr. Prince P and another Gigi maybe. Actually, it is difficult pronunciation by me. I don't know. So they are totally new to me. Okay. So if you have any question, you may ask. I will try to give answer. Okay. Thank you. Hello, Prince P.
Okay, so please, yes, please say something about yourself first. You are a student or working people. Where are you from? Yes. Yes, Prince.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, guys.
Yes, you are audible. Please continue.
Okay. My name is Prince, the son of King Prince. It's funny. I am Angolan guy in Africa. Okay.
You are a student or you are working. What are you doing right now? Yes.
Yeah, I'm chilling. I'm relaxing. I'm in my room, bedroom. So I'm reading some books, and then what I mean now is I really wanna talk with you, but it seems like the network is not good. Do you understand?
So you are right now working or a student?
Please come again. I couldn't understand what you said.
You
Actually,
are right now.
Princess, you have something network issue. So for this reason, we are unable to understand your point properly.
Okay, so something Z.
Yeah,
Please
I'm Ram.
please say
I'm
some.
Ram.
Yes, so please say something about yourself. It will be good to
Yeah,
know each other.
yeah. Hi everyone. Good evening. I'm Ram from West Bengal, India, and I'm a student of class 12 right now. Actually, my exam also over and result also outdated, and now I'm waiting to admit in college. And my you can say admission will start it from 1st July, and our college class will start it from you can say 1st August. And now I am trying to improve my spoken English around from 1 month, and I just try to do it. And have you any question about me?
No, it's a nice to know you. It's a good work, a student, and it's actually we live every day. Every day. So it's good for you also for regarding practice.
Yeah.
So
Anyone find any
yes,
topic to try to discuss?
yes. Today our topic is I like mother language, national language, and international language. Yes. So
Please, I'm not understand. I mean, what type of thing we'll discuss about? Please
yes, I
try to
like it.
explain. I
I
mean,
like I like. Namaste, Sarat sir.
hello, namaste, hello, Saha. Oh, sir, sorry.
Namaste, namaste, namaste.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening.
Sir, where are you from?
I'm from London.
Nepal
London.
No, no,
or London? London. Oh my God, UK.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Oh,
so
sir, nice. Sir, sir, please. I have a question for you. I think you are from India. Actually, you born in India.
Yes, yes.
Oh, nice. Actually, you look like Indian, so I ask you like this question.
Thank you.
yeah, in fact, for your information, all the Bangladeshi also looks like Indian only
Ha,
because,
pardon. Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, because there is no difference between Pakistani, Bangladeshi, and Indians because we have the same common DNA. For your
Yeah.
information, are you studying science?
No, no. I am.
What do you study? Do you study science? That's what I'm asking.
Are you
What is your
asking me?
study? Yes. What is your
Oh,
study
I am
field?
from no. I am from art stream.
No, you didn't
Hello.
answer my question. My question
Ha,
is,
I
what do
am
you
from
study? What is your field of study?
art stream. Art stream, like science, commerce.
Okay.
art.
So,
Yes.
okay.
No,
What
no,
do you?
not art. Actually, history, Sanskrit, philosophy, like this topic, like this subject, we include in art stream.
Okay. All right. So, just to give you the to give you background that historically, Indian subcontinent, what we call from Afghanistan to all the way to Bangladesh right now, and Nepal to Sri Lanka, we are from the same cultural group. We also
Yeah.
have the same DNA. Means we are not different from. We may be speaking different languages today. We may be speaking. In fact, all the language we speak right now in this subcontinent, pretty much they all come from one mother language called Sanskrit. For your information, I don't know if they teach you that in the Bangladesh or not, but basically Sanskrit is the mother language of Bengali too. Every
No, no,
word
no.
you speak.
It's not true. It's not true.
What is true? Let me first say that one, since it is a language day
First of all,
discussion.
actually, in our India, there have lot of language to speak, but
Yes,
Sanskrit is the only a culture. I mean, you can say, puja. What is it? Worship language. In this language, we worship to the God
you are
only.
wrong.
But
You are 100% wrong. Let me tell you
why?
why. That's why I'm going to explain to you. You know, do you know that Sanskrit has a first book written about how to build a construct a aeroplane? Do you know Sanskrit has the first book written on the mathematics, like all the way where you will learn about the science, everything? Do you know that Sanskrit has the books written on what you call health science? Very Charak was the scholar who wrote a treatise on the health science, which is even taught everywhere, and that's what there is a modern name for it. Similarly, do you know what is the oldest epic in the whole world? Ramayana and Mahabharata. There is no older books than Ramayana and Mahabharata in the whole world. And that tells you what was the society in about, say, 7,000 to 10,000 years back in the Indian subcontinent. So, you take a philosophy. You said that you are an art philosophy. You know the grammar, The grammar of the Sanskrit is so perfect that NASA is using Sanskrit as the language right now in America. I'm calling you from America. So Sanskrit has a very diversified field. It is wrong to assume that it is only a language of puja path. Yes, it is a language of puja path. And when you talk of puja path, it is a language of puja path for three different religions: Sanatan Dharma, Hindu, Buddhism, and Jainism. The three religions which sprung in India have roots in Sanskrit. All the books in the important books of so, but Sanskrit doesn't only has the books like these religious books. No, Veda is the history of the people when they started settling down in India, Indian subcontinent. Do you know where the Veda was? You might have heard the word Veda, but in the Vedas, all the work, early part of the Veda was done in what is now Afghanistan and Pakistan. The old name of Afghanistan and Pakistan is called Sapt Sindhu. So Sapt Sindhu means seven rivers. And you know the Punjab. Punjab has five. And then there was Kubh River, which is nothing but Kabul River right now. So, so if you look at scriptures like Vedas, they give you description of all the seven rivers. Uh, so it has geography, it has science, it has mathematics, it has philosophy, it has literature. I mean, there is not a single branch which it doesn't has touched. And now its grammar is so perfect that in the modern time, there is in the West there is a great interest in learning Sanskrit. You'd be surprised. In England, there are many schools. Mr. Jha will tell you they teach Sanskrit right from the beginning. In America, there is a revolution going on. Everybody wants to learn Sanskrit. I am going to a class for Sanskrit Vyakaran right now, every Tuesday for 1 hour. And in my class, there are Indians, there are Americans, there are British. This is an online class. They are from many other countries. They are not Hindus. They are all different religions. There are only few Hindus there. It is a secular class who all want to learn Sanskrit. So, it's sad that people in India, Indian subcontinent, have uh, uh, considered Sanskrit so low. It is the mother of all languages. I tell you, if you tell me the few words of Bengali, there is. I'll tell you what is the root word in Sanskrit. Uh, you want to try something? Like what do you call for mata in Sanskrit in Bengali?
Ma.
Ma.
In Bengali.
Okay, Bengali. And do you know ma? What is the word in Sanskrit for ma?
Mata, I
Matar.
think.
Matar. Yes. So your Bengali word,
Mataji.
yeah. So your Bengali word and modern Hindi word mata both come from Sanskrit word mother. I'm sorry,
Okay.
matar, matar. So that's why what is the word in Bengali for father?
Baba.
Baba. Okay, ancient word. Maybe that's a modern word, baba. Well, okay. All I was trying to say that if you look at the Bengali, probably I was hoping that you would say that pita or something around pita is the word, and same thing in the Sanskrit is Peter, like that. For example, let's say for there is a very important word I came to know. You call it Bangladesh Biman, right? Bangladesh Biman. Don't you
Hmm.
call it your airlines?
Hmm.
Uh, and I was just telling you about Bimanik Shastra, which is written in Sanskrit, Biman Shastra. That Biman word comes from the Sanskrit. You have a whole technology on that one in Sanskrit. That is nothing to do with
Oh.
any religion. So, what do you call, say, for example, dental? Is there any word for dental in Bengali? You can give me that. What do you call
Gent.
that?
What you say?
Dant, dental. What is the word for dant in
Dant.
Bengali?
Tooth.
Dant.
Tooth.
Tooth is the English, but what about in Bengali?
Dant. Dant.
Okay, so dant. Do you know what
Yeah.
it comes from? The
No,
dot
no, I
comes
don't.
from. Okay, so here you go. Dot come from Sanskrit word then dant, and you'd be
Okay.
surprised to know. So you would be surprised to know that in your ancient Bengal, when it was not divided, a great revolution took place. The Britishers were there. When they came, they saw that, oh my God, they were knowing Latin, which is the European language. Latin is mother of modern European languages. So some of the scholars, they were knowing Latin, and when they heard the Bengali pronunciation, and they say that there are few words very familiar in even in the Latin. They were very curious, so they inquired, and then they said that, well, Bengali is not the only language; we have a Sanskrit too. So they went to find out. They called some Sanskrit scholars. What is the and then they were shocked to see that there is so much similarity between Sanskrit and Latin, and that is when they developed a society called Asiatic Society, and it started doing research in the language, and that field has now developed into a big field called Indo-American. No, sorry, I should not say Indo-American. Indo-European languages,
Indo-European.
and
Yeah,
there are
yeah.
thousands of PhDs and masters doing. Students are doing. Maybe one day you want to do the art and science. Maybe you can pick some area of doing PhD in that area. All right, enough about language from me. So now let's go back to hear
Yes.
from
Thank you.
Saratji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Amarnathji, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Last time also, when I joined, we were talking about the richness of Sanskrit. I understand it is our root language. We all come from ages when Sanskrit was spoken, and there are still some scholars like you who are pursuing Sanskrit. But for the rest of us, I mean, people who only hear Sanskrit once in a year when we do pujas at our home, and that too we don't understand it properly. It has to be translated to Hindi. My question to you is, how can Sanskrit be made relevant today? And
Okay.
if it is not adopted by a wide percentage of the population, if it is not spoken by, forget about being spoken, it is not even understood by even a minuscule percentage of the population. How can we revive the importance of Sanskrit? How can we make it interesting to youngsters like other people who have joined on this group? I
Okay.
always keep wondering about these things. Why
Okay.
do
Let's
we
say.
talk so much about Sanskrit when it is not relevant? Or can it be made relevant? That is my question.
Okay. Let's.
Sir,
Saratji has something to say. I would like
yes.
Saratji first to say what he has in
Yes,
mind.
yes, yes. Actually,
Then I'll come back.
actually, what Deepak ji has told is absolutely correct. Can you hear me properly?
Slightly feeble voice, Sharadji. Can you increase your volume
Yeah,
slightly?
yeah, yeah. How is it now?
Yeah, slightly better. Yeah.
Okay. The thing is that Deepak ji is absolutely correct. If you see Urdu, Asian, or Persian, like from childhood, whether it may be Gurumukhi, people go to Gurudwara from childhood, or if you are telling about Asian, Urdu, or Persian, they go to Madrasa. So from childhood they do. But we also have the Gurukul system, which has stopped now. So we just go to a temple to give 1 rupee, 2 rupee in the donation box. But we are working on it on various levels. That like every area has a masjid or a church, and that like we had the Panjikaran. So even in UK, US, we have such a population that area, those people have the list of people who are there, and every Sunday, Monday, they have to go to learn the language. Then only it is possible. Number 1 point. Number 2 point, I will take 10 seconds. That recently, 2 times, we had a program in the Indian High Commission in collaboration with the Government of India's Institute of Sanskrit Language. So that was appreciated by many people. And third, I had invited 2 years back one person known as Zotak or Zok from, he's a good friend of mine. He is, as an English person, is propagating Sanskrit
Sharadji,
again.
I can't hear you at least. Your
Okay.
voice is very feeble and there's a lot of static noise.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sir. It means also I can't hear your voice, sir. Your voice is coming very less, sir.
Sarasat, please, can you rejoin, sir? It will be also good. Please, sir.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
No, no, no.
Okay. Just a minute. I will go in another room. We have to leave what I'm doing. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it is slightly
Eh,
better.
Okay.
Sir,
I
it
have
will
to
be
leave
good
the
to
gym.
please rejoin, sir. It will be, it's some time, it will also
You
good.
will hear me now because I was doing the gym. I have to leave
No,
my
no,
gym.
it is much better actually.
Yeah, yeah. So I was telling that, see, the thing is that number one, what is happening in teaching Asian, Persian, Urdu, or Gurumukhi by going to the Gurudwara and church, same thing we used to do in the Gurukul system, which has stopped. So Sanskrit should be taught in every temple, and then people can go there who are from that community and can learn language or other community also. And in places like Germany or Ireland, also my friend is there who is teaching Sanskrit to children. And because of that, I was surprised. He called me up and he has got the Padma Shri for last year from the Indian government. So we only go to the temples to give 1 rupee, 2 rupee donation in the box or whatever 5 rupee and or hold birthdays or this thing. But unless and until we teach our children or other people who are interested Sanskrit like the Gurukul system, like it is happening in the madrasas or Gurumukhi in the Gurudwaras, Sanskrit will never be known as the way we should, like it used to happen in the Gurukul system. So that is the primary reason that Sanskrit is being lost and not learned from the base root,
Yeah,
as we
even
learn
I've heard
English, Spanish.
it's a very good language. It has a lot of science attached to it. It used to be a strict language, very robust grammar attached to Sanskrit and all that. We understand it. It is the richness of our culture. It carries a lot of value. I mean, ages in those ages when Sanskrit was the language spoken all around, it must have been a great language for communication. But see, a language is a communication between A, B, C up to Z. If only Z speaks a language and A to X, Y, A to Y don't understand or understand that language either in written form or in spoken form, then what is the point of Z speaking a language? Unless it is revived and percolates at least to 50% of the population, I don't think
Okay, let
there
me
is any relevance there.
answer, Deepakji. I think I can answer your question.
If you can,
So,
yeah.
Saraji, you have anything more to say, or I should try to answer in my
No,
way?
please
What I
continue.
think?
Please continue. Thank you. And after that, Pathakji can also speak
Yeah,
because he is a
Pathak ji
scholar in
also.
Sanskrit.
It's a great day that we have a scholar of Sanskrit here. तो पाठक जी आप तैयारी करके रखिए जरा आप हम लोग को समझाइएगा हिंदी में कि क्या है संस्कृत का महत्व. So let me tell you one thing. In 1947, your country UK brought a new country in the world, Israel. Israelites were almost for 4,000 years scattered all over the world in different parts of the Europe, Asia, even in India. Okay, their language, Hebrew, was almost gone. But once they had their, the first thing is that wherever they went, they tried to preserve their language, and through the language, their culture, their religion, even if in any continent they went. So that is the responsibility as an individual you and I have, that wherever we go, we should take with us our root language, which is Sanskrit. But that is not what I am trying to say. I'm saying that when Israel came into existence in 1947, government was formed, and first thing they did was that they said that we need to reconstruct Hebrew, and English is not going to be the language anymore. Arabic is not going to be the language anymore. It is going to be the Hebrew, which we all are going to learn, and we are all going to do our job every day, all the science, engineering, math, technology, literature, art, business, everything is going to happen in Hebrew. And they did it, and right now it is a leading light in Asia. So far as research and development is concerned in any field, modern science you take. So what happened? What happened in our case here in Sanskrit? You know, the very first thing what happened is that there has been an attack on Sanskrit from almost 2000 years to destroy Sanskrit. Okay, when Buddhism came into existence, Buddhism accepted the local language of Magad, which was at that time Pali, and discarded Sanskrit. Sanskrit was the language before that, before the Magad period, and then Pali was adopted by the government, which was Magad, which was controlling from India, whole India, from Afghanistan to all that. So all the work started happening in Pali for a while. When finally, again, the Gupta period, Sanskrit came back and it starts flourishing all over the India. It became the court language. Everything was happening. And that is what is considered the classical period of India for Sanskrit. In the Gupta period, you see that all the scholarly books were written in different areas, from Aryabhatta to all those things happened in that time. Now, after that, what happened? It flourished Sanskrit. It was the court language. It was the classical language. It was the language of literature. It was doing fine. Of course, we had at that time developed local languages. So basically, local languages were there, but everybody wants to write any important work. They used to choose Sanskrit for writing. And that continues up to Vidyapati time. As you can see, Vidyapati was a scholar of Sanskrit as well as Maithili. He wrote in both languages, right? That gives you the glimpse that how important it was, that all the literary work people were doing it. But during the Muslim invasion, again we got another attack, that how to stop Sanskrit from becoming the lingua franca of the people. And then British came, British did the same thing. So really, if you really want to, like you said, you want to make Sanskrit, if you make it a compulsory subject throughout India, within 5 years, Sanskrit can be the language of the country. We all will be speaking. Give us 5 years. We all can speak Sanskrit. Our students can express in Sanskrit. We can do science, research, technology, math, engineering in Sanskrit.
Amarnath ji, I would like to differ here. See, Sanskrit, forget about Sanskrit. Even Hindi, we are not able to popularize even Hindi. The whole country is so westernized, is so in awe of the English language
Yeah.
that none of us see. Fact remains that a career in India grinds to a halt if the person is not good at English.
So I differ with you on that one. Why should we learn Hindi? Why not Sanskrit? Here is the answer to your
See, you
question.
can't explain
No.
that to the youth
Wait,
who are looking
wait
for
a minute.
jobs.
Have you tried learning Sanskrit and Hindi both?
No. If a young person starts focusing on Sanskrit, forgetting about English and even Hindi, do you think it'll be enough for him to develop a career?
No, I'm saying
The youth
no,
will
no,
go
no,
with
no.
the flow. That's what
where
I'm trying to say.
Okay, that's what I'm differing. I don't want to learn Hindi. I want to learn only English and Sanskrit. You tell me that. Will my career flourish or not? Why should I
No,
learn
wanting is
Hindi?
something, but see,
Why
Hindi.
should I learn Hindi? Tell me first. What is the use of Hindi for me? I am an engineer. I do all my work. So are you in English. And Hindi was forced on us to learn in Bihar, which has no value for us at all. It has the only thing it has done is it has forced us to forget our own language, Maithili, and neglect our own language, Sanskrit. That is what Hindi has done for us. There is no bigger harm done to us. You know how many languages Hindi has eaten up so far? Braj Bhasha is gone, which was the most important language of Braj area. Okay, Avdhi, Ramcharitmanas is the only thing left in Avdhi. Hindi has eaten up even Avdhi. Bundelkhandi has eaten up.
No.
Bhojpuri it has eaten up.
From
Marathi it has.
an ideological point of view, what you're saying is absolutely right. But if you look at it from a practical point of view, I don't think even 0.5% of the youth today would be ready to pick up Sanskrit.
Well,
We have cut a very sorry.
Okay.
We have cut a very sorry
Sir,
figure.
Amarnath sir.
No. The thing is
Sorry,
that
sir.
everything
Sorry, sir.
everything
Amarnath
you have
sir.
to plan. When you plan, product development. That's what we do, right? In the modern science, it is a product development. If you leave it as it is to decay, that's fine. But if you want to revive, it has a use. Right now we have so many languages in India whole South India is against Hindi, whole Bengal and all these areas are against Hindi. Now, as a Maithili speaking person, I am against Hindi. I prefer to speak either in Maithili with Bihari people if I have a choice, or I would prefer to speak just like Bengali speak with any Bihari in English, because Hindi has destroyed us. I don't anymore subscribe that we should learn. I was like you, but I think Hindi has done more damage to us than than we have benefited from Hindi, because we do all our dharma shastra in Sanskrit, right? We do all our work in English. What is the point in learning Hindi? Tell me.
Uh, so again, I'm from an ideological point of view, Amarnath ji, you couldn't be more correct. I fully agree with you. At a theoretical level, I do support you. But at a practical level, where jobs are required, where people need to get professional, where people want to climb up the ladder of a career, this will not work. People will go
English.
into colleges
Do
and
it in
schools.
English. Okay. Yes, you have a choice. You do it in English. Why you have to do it in Hindi? You can do it in English. You and I did it in English, didn't we? Are we doing any less than anybody else?
But then why English? On the same
Then,
principles,
okay,
why
so
English? Why are you okay with English and not with Hindi?
I am okay with English or Sanskrit or Maithili, not with Hindi.
I would go by the percentages of. See, again, I'm coming back to the same basic point. Let me complete my sentence.
Sure.
A language is as useful as the percentage of people that speak it. Why is English so popular? Because a large number of people on planet Earth speak it. Why is Hindi popular? Because a large number of people in India speak it. So if you apply more of your energies, more of your potential into a language that is more commonly adopted, chances of you communicating with people, understanding books, understanding technology, understanding science, understanding all material that is written in that language are much better. And therefore, your chances of success are also much better.
Okay. So if I tell you this one, that what you are saying, if I take the Middle East or Asia, right now, Arabic is more popular than Hindi and any other language. Should we all start learning Arabic to be more communicative with each other? What is your point on that one? You can.
So Arabic again is confined to some regions. It is
Why?
It is not a global language.
Ask anybody, any Muslim in India, they will tell you they would be very happy if you adopt Arabic as a national language.
But it is not adopted globally. It is not adopted globally.
It is, at least
even
it is,
today. If I go to Peru, if I go to Argentina, I go to China, I go to the Andamans, or if I go to any remote corner of the world, English still works.
But if you adopt Arabic, you can go to all Islam countries all the way to Russia. You can go all the way to the Saudi Arabia. You can go all the way to the Bangladesh. Why don't you do this one? This is a large country. At least it is covering like 50 countries, I would say, right? So then why Hindi? Why not just we do the Arabic? That way we'll have more communication. So basically what you are saying doesn't make logical sense, and I tell you why. We all have affinity to our own language, and our language is not Hindi.
That is the only thing why people prefer Sanskrit, because we want to glorify our roots. That's all. Otherwise, there is no practical use of Sanskrit, in my opinion.
Otherwise, we are just a piece of machine. What else we are? We are not. Human being has a culture. Machine has no culture. What you are saying, that should we become machine? That machine is that do today one software and replace that software in another software. So if Arabic is more popular software for all the human machines, let's change it to Arabic. That's what you are suggesting?
I have seen people who have suffered, who cannot earn to the level that they can, because they are not good at English, because they are not good at Hindi. People from south of India who move to north of India, people from north of India who move to south of India, because there is no common language, people suffer. People move from India to the United States. People move from India to the UK, and they suffer because they don't know English. So if I'm given time, if I have energy left, I'll read a language, I'll study a language that is much more useful to me, given the current circumstances, forgetting about my roots, forgetting about ideology.
Okay, so here I differ. If you ask right now in whole India, if you take a survey that should we make Sanskrit as the national language or the link language, you will have a lot more vote for Sanskrit than any other language. if you put aside Hindi, okay. But after that, if you choose, because Sanskrit is the root language and linked language in all the regional languages of India. There is not a single language in the south or north or east or west which is not impacted by Sanskrit. So Sanskrit has a very dominant role in our all the languages. And so only thing we have to do is that we have to we have to plan, we have to develop it. We should not be wandering around just like whichever is popular language, let's follow that blindly. We need to have a plan. If we all develop and take interest that Sanskrit should be made a national language, let's start not as a only language. Let's make Sanskrit as a national language for work. Government should make it as a national language of work, and then it should give us choice to people that you can work, you can do things in English, Sanskrit, and Hindi right now. That's what I'm saying right now. That's
Pankaj has
the
to say
first
something.
step. Yeah.
Pankaj,
Okay.
Pankaj
Go
has
ahead,
been
Pankaj.
trying to say something for quite some
Yes.
time.
So now I request to Pathak ji, please say something regarding this
Yes.
because you are. Yes, yes, sir. Please, sir.
पाठक जी अब आप बोलिए संस्कृत के बारे में।
प्रणाम प्रणाम प्रणाम। बहुत अच्छा, दीपक जी का प्रश्न बहुत ही समीचीन प्रश्न और अच्छा था। मैं ओपन माइंड बिरला विद्यालय का शिक्षक था। 30 में से 15 बच्चा क्लास 10th के बच्चे अपना नाम हिंदी में नहीं लिख पाया था। क्लास 10th का 30 में से 15 बच्चे ने अपना नाम नहीं लिख पाया था। प्रिंसिपल सर ने मुझे बोला कि आपको इससे कोई काम नहीं है। हम बोले मुझे से अगर इससे कोई काम नहीं है तो मैं स्कूल में सेवा नहीं दे पाऊँ। ये बिरला स्कूल की कहानी बता रहा हूँ, इंटरनेशनल स्कूल है। हिंदी की स्थिति ये है, 1 से 10
Yes, yes.
1 से 10 तक बच्चे नहीं लिख पा रहे हैं। कल का पेपर का ये आया है कि क्लास 2 को किताब जो है क्लास 2 की पुस्तक क्लास 8 के बच्चे नहीं पढ़ पा रहे हैं। बिल्कुल सही है। और संस्कृत के बारे में एक कहानी सुनाता हूँ। राजा भोज थे, वो जिनके बारे में हम लोग पढ़ते हैं, अद्यधारा निराधारा निरालंबा सरस्वती पंडिता खंडिता सर्वे भोज राजे दिवंगते। कि एक लकड़हारा जा रहा था, उनके माथे पर लकड़ी का गट्ठर था। तो राजा भोज ने उनसे पूछ दिया किम त्वम भारम भारयते। उस लकड़हारे ने उन्हें कहा कि मुझे आपने जो बोला उसमें भारयते नहीं भारयति होना चाहिए, और आपने जो ये शब्द बोला इससे मुझे ज्यादा भारी लगा। आज संस्कृत की क्या बिहार और यूपी और उसके बाद साउथ इंडिया, ये तो संस्कृत का गढ़ है। साउथ इंडिया में लोग रखे हुए हैं, वहां जीवित है। और बिहार में संस्कृत की स्थिति है वो सिर्फ शादी विवाह का में रह गया है। और शादी विवाह में भी पंडित जी जब आपको जो बोलते हैं तो नो वन कैन आस्क द पंडित जी व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस श्लोक।
चलिए पाठक जी, जरा आप दीपक जी कुछ आपको पूछना है तो पाठक जी से पूछिए। हिंदी और संस्कृत के बारे में थोड़ा सा उनसे भी विचार लिया जाए, आप सवाल जवाब थोड़ा हो जाए।
नहीं, मैं तो बिल्कुल देखिए, संस्कृत के वैल्यू को मैं अंडरमाइन नहीं कर रहा हूँ। संस्कृत अपने आप में बहुत रिच लैंग्वेज है, ये मैं शुरू से ही जानता हूँ। दो मैं ये नहीं कह सकता कि मैंने संस्कृत को पढ़ा है या मैं संस्कृत के बारे में जानता हूँ, लेकिन जहां तक सुना है मैं जानता हूँ संस्कृत एक बहुत ही उच्च कोटि का लैंग्वेज है।
Yes, sir. Like God language. God language.
हाँ, गॉड लैंग्वेज है, लेकिन अगर हम उसको माध्यम में नहीं ला सकते, अगर लोग उसे बोले ही नहीं, समझे ही नहीं,
पंकज जी,
तो फिर ऐसे लैंग्वेज का क्या फायदा, वो कितना भी अच्छा हो।
पंकज जी, यही प्रॉब्लम है। नेवर कॉल संस्कृत ए गॉड लैंग्वेज। ये जो बात है ये मुसलमानों के द्वारा प्रचारित की गई थी, एक भ्रम कि संस्कृत जो है वो सिर्फ पूजा पाठ की भाषा है, और वही रट्टा हम लोग लगाए जा रहे हैं। हम लोगों का मत इतना भ्रमित कर दिया गया है कि हम और आप जिसको कि संस्कृत मातृभाषा होनी चाहिए। कहने के लिए हम लोग पोंगा ब्राह्मण अब हो गए हैं, कहते हैं हम लोग ब्राह्मण। ब्राह्मणों की भाषा अगर संस्कृत नहीं होगी तो
अच्छा,
किसकी भाषा?
एक बार खाली इंटरप्ट कर रहे हैं सर, हम चेंजिंग रूम में जिम का है तो बस 10 मिनट में हम तुरंत नहा के ज्वाइन करते हैं, ठीक है? अगर आप लोग रहे
आइए आइए आइए।
तब तक ठीक।
हाँ,
दीपक जी, हम 10 मिनट में ठीक है।
एक उदाहरण में दीपक जी आपको देता हूँ। देखिए, सीखना तो पड़ेगा आपको, सीखना तो पड़ेगा। अब सवाल ये है कि आप अपना एनर्जी हिंदी सीखने में लगाएंगे कि संस्कृत में लगाएंगे। चॉइस हम लोगों को है सामने में, दो चीज। तो मैं कहूँगा कि हम लोगों को अपनी शक्ति जो है हिंदी के बदले में अपने बच्चों को संस्कृत सिखाना चाहिए और अंग्रेजी सिखाइए। अंग्रेजी से उसकी रोजी रोटी चलेगी, कहीं भी जाएगा वो सीख लेगा, अब काम कर लेगा, इंडिया हो या बाहर का देश हो। लेकिन हिंदी में एक ही नया काम मिल सकता है उसको, जो हम नहीं कर सकते हैं, कि वो मूवी स्टार अगर उसको बनना है तो मूवी स्टार जो है उसके लिए आजकल शायद उसको हिंदी की जरूरत है। लेकिन हमारे कितने लोग जाकर के मूवी में जाकर काम करते हैं, तो उसको छोड़ करके बाकी किसी चीज के लिए हमें हिंदी की जरूरत नहीं है, किसी भी चीज के लिए जरूरत नहीं है। हम अंग्रेजी हमारी नौकरी की भाषा है, अंग्रेजी में हम सीख लें, और घर में हम मैथिली सीखें, घर में हम जो है संस्कृत सीखें। संस्कृत अगर हम सीखते हैं तो हम अपने प्राचीन समय से लेकर के आज तक के इतिहास से जुड़ जाते हैं। अच्छा, दूसरी बात, आपने कहा कि बहुत कठिन है। एकदम कठिन नहीं है, मैंने ट्राई किया है। मैं हर एक ट्यूजडे को क्लास जा रहा हूँ, और आनंद का विषय ये है कि अब मैं जो है श्लोक जो पढ़ता हूँ, तो श्लोक का अन्वय करके उसको संधि विच्छेद करके उसका ढंग से उसका अर्थ समझ सकता हूँ। थोड़े से प्रयत्न करने से मैं मुश्किल से इस साल शायद फरवरी और मार्च से ये ग्रामर का क्लास अटेंड करना शुरू किया हूँ। कोई ज़्यादा नहीं है, हफ्ता में एक दिन 1 घंटा लगता है। आप भी ज्वाइन कर लीजिए। यहाँ अभी कोई ज़्यादा नहीं हुआ है, अभी बहुत सारे लोग जो है आपको आयरलैंड वगैरह से उस क्लास में आते हैं, सबके लिए ओपन है यहाँ पर।
हाँ, वो यहाँ पे है, इस तरह की स्ट्रीम्स है। इनफैक्ट हमारा मिथिला का भी एक लैंग्वेज है, जो रिटन पार्ट मिथिलाक्षर, उसको लेकर भी काफी लोग उत्सुक हैं और सीख रहे हैं। मेरा इन सब चीजों से बस एक ही सवाल है कि मैं इसको प्रयोग में कहाँ लाऊंगा?
अब प्रयोग में पहली चीज तो प्रयोग में आपको यह है कि आपको अपने घर में लाना पड़ेगा इसको। आप अपने घर में जब आपको प्रयोग लाएंगे, जैसे कि धर्मशास्त्र का किताब आप पढ़ते हैं, आप गीता पढ़ते हैं, रट्टा की तरह हम लोग पढ़ लेते थे। कभी हमने गीता को ठीक से समझने की कोशिश की कि उसमें क्या है। दुर्गा सप्तशती पाठ हमारे यहाँ कितना पॉपुलर है, हम लोग दुर्गा सप्तशती पाठ करते थे, 13 अध्याय दुर्गा। कभी भी हमने ध्यान नहीं दिया कि उसके अंदर में क्या कहानी है। अगर कोई सवाल पूछ दे तो नहीं बता सकते। सिमिलरली हमने देखा गाँव में हमारे यहाँ सत्यनारायण पूजा में पंडित जी संस्कृत में पूरा पाठ कर जाते थे इधर से उधर, लेकिन अगर बैठने वाले सब लोग बोर हो रहे हैं, उनको किसी को पूछिए क्या चल रहा है, कोई भी नहीं कह सकते कहानी। लेकिन अगर हम इस भाषा को सीख लें संस्कृत को, तो हम उसको एंजॉय करेंगे कि सत्यनारायण कथा में क्या चल रहा है, दुर्गा सप्तशती पाठ जो हम कर रहे हैं उसमें क्या कहा जा रहा है, गीता का जो पाठ कर, तो ये सबसे पहले आपको अपने फायदे की चीज है।
नहीं तो उसका हर चीज का हिंदी अनुवाद तो मिल रहा है मार्केट में।
क्या
हर चीज का हिंदी अनुवाद, ट्रांसलेशन जो है।
बात आ रहा है, हम हिंदी अनुवाद क्यों पढ़ें जब हमको संस्कृत में हम पढ़ सकते हैं कोई चीज। तो अगर हम ओरिजिनल चीज आम खा सकते हैं, तो आम का नकली आम जो है हम क्यों खाएं?
अब अमरनाथ जी, मैं आपसे एक चीज पूछता हूँ यहाँ पे कि दुनिया में अभी इतना हर ब्रांच में हर सब्जेक्ट में इतना उन्नति हो रहा है, हर चीज में हर दिन आप जब तक आंख झपकते हैं तब तक 10 किताब छप जाता है, एक से एक वैल्यूएबल किताब है, एक से एक बायोग्राफी है, ऑटोबायोग्राफी है, टेक्नोलॉजी पे किताब है। आदमी वो सब क्यों ना पढ़े कि स्पेशली मैं ये जो यंग लोग इस ग्रुप में अभी ज्वाइन किए हुए हैं, मैं उन सबसे उनके पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से सोचता हूँ कि वो लोग एक ऐसा चीज क्यों ना पढ़ें जो आज के जमाने से जुड़ा हो, जो उनको नॉलेज दे इन वेरियस फील्ड्स ऑफ डेवलपमेंट, जो साइंस में, टेक्नोलॉजी में, लिटरेचर में जो चल रहा है। इतने अच्छे किताब निकल रहे हैं, ऑटोबायोग्राफीज निकल रहे हैं, नॉवेल्स निकल रहे हैं। आप जितना देर में एक नॉवल पढ़ते हैं उतने में 15 छप जाते हैं अच्छे नॉवल। क्यों ना पढ़े जो दुर्गा सप्तशती और हमारे पुराने चीजों को जाकर के पढ़े, जिसमें कि हाँ मानता हूँ उससे एक आपको एक इंसाइट मिलेगा कि आपका हिस्ट्री क्या था। एक हो सकता है कुछ लोगों को जो आध्यात्मिक टाइप के हैं उनको एक सुकून भी मिले, लेकिन यंग लोग जो है आजकल के वो क्यों पढ़ेंगे उस तरह का चीज?
चलिए आपके प्रश्न का
Yes,
उत्तर मैं
sir.
आपका प्रश्न का देखता हूँ कि शायद मैं जवाब दे पा रहा हूँ कि नहीं, लेकिन फिर मैं कोशिश करता हूँ। पहली बात आपने कहा कि आप बायोग्राफी वगैरह ये वो बहुत सारी की किताबें पब्लिश हो रही हैं और वो क्यों न पढ़े। मैं कह रहा हूँ ठीक है आप पढ़िए। अच्छा, अब आप है कि उसका मीडियम आप क्या चूज कर रहे हैं। आप मीडियम कर रहे हैं, पहला जो आपसे डिफरेंस है मेरा, वो हम इंग्लिश में पढ़ें, हम हिंदी में नहीं पढ़ना चाहते हैं। पहली बात, हम हिंदी में क्यों पढ़ें? क्योंकि न तो हिंदी हमारी मातृभाषा है, न तो हिंदी से हमारा कोई लेना देना है।
लेकिन संस्कृत में तो किताब ही नहीं है अवेलेबल।
अच्छा सर, एक मिनट, तो अंग्रेजी में पढ़िए ना, हम इसके लिए कहाँ विरोध कर रहे हैं, अंग्रेजी में पढ़िए।
हम समय कहाँ है कि अंग्रेजी में भी पढ़े आदमी और इधर हिंदी संस्कृत भी सीखे। संस्कृत सीख के हम फिर क्या कर लेंगे?
नहीं, आप तो कह रहे हैं ना, पहले इस पर तो आप एग्री कीजिए कि आपको ऑप्शन है कि आप अंग्रेजी में सब कुछ पढ़ सकते हैं, नंबर 1।
अंग्रेजी और हिंदी में बहुत अच्छी अच्छी किताबें हैं, हम संस्कृत क्यों सीखने जाए? मुझे ये समझाइए आप।
एक मिनट, हिंदी में सिर्फ हिंदी साहित्य के अलावे और सब कुछ जीरो है, कुछ भी नहीं है स्टैंडर्ड जिसको कि वर्ल्ड स्टैंडर्ड का माना जा सके। साहित्य, हिंदी साहित्य है सिर्फ, दैट्स इट। आप हिस्ट्री, पॉलिटिकल साइंस, इकोनॉमिक्स, जो भी साइंसेस हैं, सारा कुछ इंडिया में सारे लोग जो है इंग्लिश में कर रहे हैं। आप कहाँ हैं? कौन करता है? क्या आपने हिंदी में पढ़ाई?
हिंदी में भी बहुत कुछ है पढ़ने
एक मिनट बताइए, आपने जो बीएससी इंजीनियरिंग किया इंडिया में, आपने इंग्लिश में किया होगा, मैंने भी किया है, मैंने इंग्लिश में किया है। पूछिए, यहाँ पर 5 लोग अभी इंजीनियर हैं, किसी ने किया हिंदी में बीएससी इंजीनियरिंग? पंकज जी भी इंजीनियर हैं, दूसरे लोग
पढ़ाया भी जाता है कि नहीं हिंदी में?
हिंदी साहित्य पढ़ा जाता है ना। हिंदी हैज ओनली प्लेस एज ए लिटरेचर, दैट्स इट, एंड दैट टू हिंदी लिटरेचर इज ओनली 500-600 years old. At the time of Vidyapati, there was no scholarly book which can compare Vidyapati Padapali. Do you know that?
लेकिन हम आप ठीक है, आप हिंदी में
मैं
मानता हूँ, लेकिन संस्कृत में मटी अगर मान लीजिए मैं जोड़ लगा के 2-3 साल में संस्कृत सीख भी जाता हूँ तो मैं पढ़ूंगा क्या उसमें? वही दुर्गा सप्तशती।
There is so much material and it's coming. How do you know that it's not their material? Do you know right now that first thing is that every book in Sanskrit text has been translated almost in Sanskrit. Anything you name of. Like I was just giving you example of. I'm now speaking back in English because I see Brenda had joined. And so it's important that we speak in the language which everybody can. So first thing, so Sanskrit, so all the texts which we have in Sanskrit from ancient time, it has been translated into English. There is not a single book you can name which is not translated in English. So why, for example, right now the people are in my class, when I ask them, why you want to learn Sanskrit when everything is available in Sanskrit, I mean in English? And I'm not talking to about Indians, I'm talking about the Europeans who are in the class. They said that they have already read translation in English of Ashtavakra Gita, for example, Vishnu Sahasri, which we are learning in the class. But they said that no, we are not satisfied. We want to read in original text. And that is what is the motivation for learning Sanskrit for them. Okay, now coming back to you, so you don't have to go to Hindi for anything. There is everything in the Sanskrit or even any Hindi. If you want, Hindi's important books are also translated in English. So you can read through English. That's one thing. Second thing, for us whose Hindi is not mother tongue, if it is Hindi is your mother tongue, it is a different story. I am assuming that I am talking for those whose mother tongue is not Hindi. For example, my mother tongue is Maithili, which is completely distinct from Hindi. So for me, it is equal. I have to take effort to learn Hindi, just like I have to take effort to learn English, or if I have to take the similar effort for learning Sanskrit. For me, Hindi, Sanskrit, and English are 3 foreign languages. Now, I have a choice. If I want to learn, first thing is that why should I learn other language? I have my mother tongue, Maithili. I have an English language, which I can read every books in the available. I can function as an engineer or doctor or lawyer or scientist or whatever, or economist. I can do everything. So basically, I have a Roji roti ka language for our work, for bread and butter. I have a language English at one hand. Now, for me, the question is that uh, between the two languages, mother tongue, of course, I have to learn because that's my mother tongue, Maithili. But now, choice is between, if I have to choose between Hindi and Sanskrit, why I'm choosing that one? Because I want to learn, I want to enhance my knowledge, I want to enjoy more, I want to. So now the choice is, you can pick Hindi or Sanskrit, and now you have to see what is the advantage of learning Hindi and what is the advantage of learning Sanskrit. You
अच्छा,
have to do it.
मैं 2 मिनट में ज्वाइन करता हूँ फिर से, मेरे
आइए,
रूम
ओके,
चेंज करना है मुझे।
आइए।
Yes,
Okay,
yes, sir.
Brinda, sorry, Brinda, we are talking about today the language, and discussion is,
Yes, yes.
yeah, yeah, the
Yes, it's a discussion today.
yeah. So the question is about the language. Like, in India, our work language is English, and then we have so many other languages in India, different standard language. About there are 30 of them, and then we have the ancient language of India is Sanskrit, and then modern North Indian language is Hindi, which is common in many North states. So uh, the discussion is focusing around that, should we learn Hindi or not, or should we learn Sanskrit or not? Because we all have our all mother tongue, for our jobs, day to day life. We can use English for that thing, and then, uh, should we learn Hindi or Sanskrit? Uh, Deepak ji is saying that we should learn Hindi, and I'm saying there is no need for learning Hindi. Rather than that time which we want to dedicate to Hindi, we should utilize for enhancing our own mother tongue, Maithili, or enhancing our classical language, Sanskrit, which connects us to our 10,000 years of history. If I learn Sanskrit, I can read my old books of 5,000, like Ramayana and Mahabharata. I was telling you about it. But if I learn Hindi, what I'm going to learn? I'll read the translation of Ramayana done in Hindi, and that too was done in the language which is now almost defunct. It was done in Avdi language. Now nobody is speaking even Avdi. So why should I learn? If I have to read Ramayana, I would prefer to read Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, original text. That is what would be my goal, not the translation of translation of translation. So that's the discussion going on.
Yes.
Okay, Pathak ji.
Amanath sir,
Ah,
Amanath sir, first time Sagar sir also live
yes.
from UK. So Sagar
Sagar
sir,
ji.
please say something
Yes.
about yourself. Yes, yes, sir. Oh no, Sagar he
Yeah,
left it.
I,
They
ha-
they will
I
join
have one
soon once
question.
again. Yes,
I
yes,
have one
Brinda.
question. Yes, Sanskrit and Hindi, it's not related song words. It's totally different.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, because the reason why the other person
Sans-
prefer to talk to. Okay.
Sanskrit is the mother language. You call the Sanskrit is the mother language.
Yes, but the other person prefer to talk in Hindi because more person is more
Okay.
population talking in Hindi.
Yeah.
But Amaji
So yeah.
prefer to speak in Sanskrit or learn Sanskrit because is the old books origin it's in Sanskrit. It's
That's
better.
right. So here I can give you another analogy, Brinda, that from the European language, you have the Latin in the Europe, and then you have all the modern languages in Europe, right? Like you have Spanish, you have French, you have German, you have English, you have all those Slavic language, and their root language is mostly the Latin is their root language. Exactly the same thing happened to India. Sanskrit is our root language, and all the modern languages of India have sprung up from Sanskrit, okay, including Hindi. Hindi is the youngest language in the all Indian languages. It is only about 13th century. So how many years is that one? Like, it really started developing in 13th and 14th century. So you can call it that it's about 800, not even 1,000 years old yet, or maybe call it 1,000 years old language. But all the ancient languages, even the local languages which we have right now, which sprang from Sanskrit, they are older than Hindi. Okay, so now the argument is that those who are supporter of Hindi, their argument is that Hindi should be made the national language of India, and all Indians should learn Hindi as a common language, and they should do all the science, engineering, technology, math, everything in Hindi. That is one argument. Okay, but in this argument there is a strong opposition from different areas. From southern India, they don't want that to happen. Eastern India, they don't want to happen, like up to Bengal. Okay, only the northern India, where we come from, most of us we come from, we have we are okay with that. And it has we and it's not free for us. We are okay because we have mentally been brainwashed by Hindi walas. Okay, because what is happening is that to learn Hindi, we have to unlearn, we have to compromise with our mother tongue. So what is happening is, for example, where we come from, we all come from, we have our local language. It's called Maithili, which is even older than Hindi. Our poets Vidyapati was in 13th century when Hindi was not even born. Okay, so it's such a old. We have from like 8th, 9th century the literature in Maithili. Now, what is happening is that government deliberately in North India, like in our area, it has all the books from primary to secondary. It has made in Hindi only. So our kids, including ourselves, all of us, we never got chance to learn in our mother tongue. We were forced to learn in Hindi up to matriculation, up to high school. So basically, we neglected our own language, which was our mother tongue, and we learned a new language, Hindi, which were forced on us. And vocabularies are different. For example, imagine a student in the first grade coming, calling all vegetables at home by one name, and as soon as you come to the classroom in like, for example, like we say that A to apple, B to banana. So A to apple. Now a student in the first grade, when he comes, he or she is shocked because school is teaching you A is apple, and at home you are calling apple something else. Can you imagine what kind of psychological shock our students go through? We have never analyzed. There is a lot of research need to be done in this field. It is like mentally retarding us, mentally jumping us, that when we are forced to learn in the other language as soon as you become like first grader in the school. It is a linguistic imperialism happening in India, in North India, and we are fighting against it. That we are saying that if we have to learn Hindi, why then Hindi? We should learn only Sanskrit then. That is where is the discussion going on. Okay, that's the background. Okay, I'll continue.
Yeah, currently 95% of Mexicans speak Spanish. However, it's not considered official language because we have other no language. We have a dialect, 68 dialect live.
Wow.
60.
So you are
This
just
is
like
the
us. You are just like India then.
yes, but it's not a big population speak this dialect. Uh, in different cases, many dialects are gone or dead
Yeah, exactly. That's
because
what is happening.
the population is not big.
Yeah,
But this is the reason why the official language is not considered Spanish
yeah,
because we have other dialects in
yeah.
Mexico.
So that is what exactly we are saying. that don't push the Hindi on us. Hindi is, Hindi is not our mother tongue. Hindi is killing all other local languages,
Yeah,
and so like Hindi is developing at the cost of local languages. Just like in Bihar where we are, uh, we speak Maithili, and it is Hindi is prospering because in school and colleges everything is now happening in Hindi. Kids are forced to learn Hindi. They are neglecting their own mother tongue. They are
yes,
switching. Yeah.
but this decision changed all books for Hindi. The decision is for the government, but why they take this decision?
Okay.
Because
So
what happened in Mexico, all books is in Spanish. But what happened if one day the government take the decision to change all books to English?
yes, yeah. I mean, so
I
I
am
think
not agree with that.
I lost in your question. Okay, what was the intent of your question? I think I did not understand it very well.
Actually, sir,
Okay,
actually, Brenda, here
why the
India,
government decide to change the books? Because in Mexico all books are in Spanish. And what happened if one day the government shake all books in the scholar?
So you are
Why the governments in India change the books?
okay. So your question is that why the government changed the books, right? In
Yeah,
one language, right? Like standard language, like Hindi, right? That is your
yeah,
question.
yeah. But because in the ancient time the books is not in Hindi, right?
Yes, yes, yes. It was not in Hindi. So this is exactly. It is called linguistic imperialism, which we are fighting. This is happening all over the world and continuing to happen. So imperialism is imposition is not only in political, it is cultural. So it falls in the category of cultural imperialism, which is happening. So the one group, when they dominate, they try to destroy the local culture of the area which they occupy, and slowly they subjugate them by eliminating their culture and replacing it by the culture of the invaders. So this is exactly what is happening. So Hindi was introduced uh, only in the like 1888 in Bihar. So imagine that before 1988 in Bihar, which is our state, all of us come from that state, nobody was speaking Hindi. So 1888. So it is not even 200 years old, and in 200 150 years now we have destroyed our native languages of Bihar, and now almost like all the city kids are speaking Hindi, village kids are speaking local languages, but they are learning this Hindi also, and they are like in between the two languages. So this is what is happening right now, and this has what discussion was earlier, that if we all have to learn Hindi, what is the benefit? Why should we learn Hindi? Because English can be our work language, which is it is in India. Hindi is only useful if you go to North India for travel. Suppose if I'm a Maithili speaking person, I don't know Hindi. If I tell in Maithili, still people can figure it out because they all have a common vocabulary coming from Sanskrit. Thanks to Sanskrit again, we have the common word vocabulary. The base root words is in Sanskrit. Only grammar is different. So I can still, if I say somebody in the Maithili slowly, somebody from Uttarakhand, which is our religious place, all the pundits there, when I go for pilgrimage there, he can understand me if I tell in the Maithili. And I'm going to experiment next year when I go to India. I have decided not to speak a word in Hindi. Either I will speak Maithili or Sanskrit or English in India next year. Not a single word. So, you know, so I'll tell you the result. This is experimental. I'm engineer, so I like to experiment with it, and then that is one of my goals, to experiment with it. That can I live without speaking Hindi in India or not? So I think you can communicate if you go to other areas. So basically, for the jobs, you have English. Then, if I can even communicate in my mother tongue with all these areas, then what is the benefit for me learning Hindi? Only if you become a Hindi movie star, if you have seen any Indian movie, then yes, you have a need for it. So that is a learned skill. If you want to become a movie star, it is a requirement that you have to learn Hindi. So go and learn Hindi then, if you want to act in the Hindi movies. But if you don't have that desire, then there is no benefit for you to learn Hindi. Then English is good. You learn your mother tongue because you want to communicate with your people whatever you can, or you don't have to. It is your native language, so you don't have to learn. You automatically learn it. And then you have to learn any extra language. Then why should I waste my time in learning Hindi? I would rather prefer my kids, my family to learn Sanskrit, which connects me with my 7,000 years old history. Another thing I tell you, like I was telling, that Ramayana is written already in Sanskrit. And now Hindi ballads, like Hindi poets, Tulsidas, he translated that into Hindi from Sanskrit. And that book is very popular in North India. We all do read from that book. We don't read from Sanskrit, but we read from that Ramayana. It is a sad story that we don't read from the original text and we are reading from a translation. And we call that translation our own, and we disown our original text in Sanskrit. It's very, very sad, because when Tulsidas, he translated from Sanskrit to Hindi, that Ramayana, he has not captured everything as it should be in the as it is, because there is no way, as you know, when you translate from original text to the new language, you can never be 100% efficient. It's just like, we engineers, we talk of making an engine. You can never make an engine 100% efficient. There is some loss. Same way, when you translate, you basically destroy the originality of the content. You can be maybe 80% or 90%, depending on what you are trying to say, because it's not exactly, there are so many written and unwritten things in the language, which you lose when you try to translate into other language. So what happened, the Ramayana, which we have available in Sanskrit, we can read easily, if we do a little bit try. We are not practicing learning Ramayana in Sanskrit, but now we are learning it in the Hindi. And so now, can you imagine, now in America, after learning the basic grammar, now from the next class, I will be learning Ramayana in Sanskrit. So, and since here, I want to read the first chapter, first story which I am going to read in see, so that I wish I had a Hindi translation, but here Panditji is here, so no problem. I am going to read only the 5 sentences in Sanskrit, which I'll be doing in a class this coming Tuesday, which is in Sanskrit. And luckily we have Pathak ji here. It will take me only 1 minute to recite in Sanskrit. Pathak ji, आप जरा इसका ट्रांसलेशन हिंदी में हम लोगों को बताएंगे, ताकि हम लोग समझ सकें. बहुत ही बेसिक संस्कृत का है, और ये this will tell you that you have the original language text, why you should read original, and how much we lose when we read a translation. So this is about Dasarath. When Dasarath is he has killed his I think Shravan Kumar's dad and mom. That is when this part is only, this is 5 sentences. This is what we are supposed to learn next week. So this is my homework. So I'm doing my homework with all of you in Sanskrit. Okay, so let me read it. Dasarathastasya kupitasya brahmanasya vachanam shrinot kintu kalen tan shapam vismarat ayodhyayam bharjami sah sukham vasati rajyam karoti cha sukhi tasya नृपस्यैकं दुःखं तस्य पुत्रो नास्ति ततो ब्राह्मणैः सह स प्रजायै यज्ञं करोति अथ कालेन पुत्राणां चतुष्टम्य चतुष्टयम् उद्भवति रामश्च लक्ष्मणश्च भरतश्च शत्रुघ्नेस्ति पुत्राणां नामधेयानि पार्थिवस्त्रपुत्राः सुन्दराः शान्ता वीराश्च तेषु ज्येष्ठो रामौ गुणौ श्रेष्ठौ भवति तस्मान् नृपो रामे स्निह्यति विशेषतः. So now I read this in Sanskrit, which on this Tuesday my teacher is going to break it into pieces, like word into like decouple it, and then we will learn more detail about this paragraph. Now, Pathakji, if you can tell us what it means in Hindi, that will be good for us.
इसका टेक्स्ट ये कहाँ पर का टेक्स्ट है सर?
हाँ, ये है रामायण का टेक्स्ट है संस्कृत में. ये रामायण का
एक मिनट सर, मैं किताब ले लेता हूँ.
Okay, so now he's going to actually I'll send him the text. आप लोग बात कीजिए. Let's talk, continue discussion. So basically the point is that either there is no, you should learn your mother tongue. If you get to express yourself in mother tongue, there is no better language than that. Now, second question comes that if we have to learn in the standard language for our livelihood, that's fine. But then why should I learn a additional language for the livelihood? No, there is no need. And that is where Hindi comes, that there is no need for us to learn Hindi. We should learn English, and that's enough for our livelihood. And then Sanskrit is our classical language, cultural language. That's why we have a need. Those who want to learn more, like me, I'm learning it. Similarly, if you have a need, if you feel like you should read your text in Sanskrit, then you should read. Nobody is forcing you. But telling it that Hindi we should learn is a bogus idea. Why should I learn Hindi? There is no need.
But sir, Amarnath sir, I have one doubt. In India, you can say that above 30 states in our country. So at least above 30 mother languages running right now in our country, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
From Kashmir to Kanyakumari.
So what is wrong?
Above 30 mother languages running now, and all we know that Hindi is our national language, sir. Doesn't matter Kashmir to Kanyakumari. It's our national language.
Hindi is not a national language. All languages are national languages. First thing I want to tell you that all the 30 languages recognized are equally language. Like Hindi has no superiority over any other language. It is okay. Now the second part is, like you said, that we don't have a national language. But if we don't have a we have the national language. We don't have a link. What you are trying to say is that right now English is the link language, and we should replace English by any other Indian language as a link language. Now, when we do that, then there is a problem, because we cannot accept Tamil as a link language. We cannot accept Marathi as a link language. We cannot accept Bengali as a link language. We cannot even accept Hindi as a link language. That's why we had so much fight in South in 1950s and 60s against Hindi. Okay, so Hindi is not acceptable as a link language for whole India. So what do we do? Although there is a one language which fits the bill, that is Sanskrit. If we all take effort, Sanskrit can be that link language which everybody can accept. Because if you go to Kerala, if you go to Tamil Nadu, you go to any state, you find Hindi as the Sanskrit is equally important. So why not Sanskrit? Why Hindi? You give me the reply of that question. Thank you.
Actually, what happens, sir? Actually, practically, we know that Sanskrit is very ancient and really very good language. But practically, we see that it's not our utilization, means popularized language. Means people are not utilize this as like a spoken, means mother language.
So you have to popularize it. That's what you are saying.
Yes,
You
yes,
know.
sir. But how to popularize? Yes, this is a good discussion. How to popularize this? But
Well,
naturally, practically, sir, we see that in our village areas, those pandit are till now doing work regarding Sanskrit part, Ramayana, Gita, and God puja
okay.
something.
So so
But
so
his life is not a satisfied life. Means they
okay.
are
So
always
so here you already answered your question. Okay.
yes,
So let's go to your village, right? In your village, deep in the Mithila somewhere, right? In your village, you said that, let's say that your village is Sanskrit. Sorry, Maithili speaking village. So in
yes,
your village, you said that either people communicate in Maithili there, or for all the puja, path, karm, everything, they get exposed to Sanskrit. They don't get exposed to English. They don't get exposed to Hindi. You agree to that?
yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So in your village, after your mother tongue Maithili, which is the next language being used? Tell me.
Yes.
I want to answer from you.
Actually, sir, Sanskrit language is practically means popularity right now.
Oh, no, no, no. You already said. You already
Yes,
said that in your village, from your logic, that first language in your village is Maithili, but second important language for your village is Sanskrit, because all your puja part, all those things are done in Sanskrit in your village. Didn't you say that? Now,
yes, sir. Practically, we see that a lot of pandit
oh,
doing
now, so
this
now it is
type
up to
of
us.
work. But
Now,
his
so
life is not, sir. But his life is not a satisfied life. That's why the reason his son not time till now means now they can't try to do this type of work,
no,
and
no,
they
no.
avoid
Okay,
this type of work
no, okay.
because they
You
know
are
that
you.
this is not.
That is not the answer. That is not the answer I was trying to get from you. That was not my. We are.
Okay.
That is completely okay. You are. That is on tangent. What you were. What the point was that first thing is that in all the villages, we, if you go to okay, not sorry, if you
Okay,
just
no,
like,
sir.
yeah, okay. So what you told me is that right now your village example, if you go to any part of India right now, Tamil Nadu or Kerala or Maharashtra, where you guys are from, you, I see Prem is here, or Bengal or Bihar or Assam, this is what is happening. We have our local language, our primary language we talk, and then all the puja part we are doing everywhere in whole India is right now in Sanskrit. So by
Correct,
default,
correct.
okay. So by default, you told me that in the Grameen India right now, Sanskrit is the second important language, not Hindi, not English, but villagers who don't have to go to school for anything or outside their village for the work, for them only the two language matters is their own mother tongue and Sanskrit. That is what you told me. Now you said that you told me about that Pandit, that he and his son is learning Sanskrit because of the puja path. Well, he is learning Sanskrit puja path because he is earning his livelihood, right? So
Yes,
if you make the Sanskrit a language of earning livelihood, then other people will learn. I mean, right now we are doing engineering in English, right? You can do engineering also in Sanskrit. You can do movies also in Sanskrit. You can do music in Sanskrit. So it is our fault that we are not making it a popular language. We have the 1,000, 2,000 years of imperialism imposed on us, which has been against Sanskrit, and now we are waking up. We are saying that Sanskrit, there are people like me who are saying that Sanskrit should be the link language of India. It was a link language of Indian courts. It was a link language of Indian elites. They were exchanging, they were writing all the classical important books when they had to write. They might be speaking Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada, or Hindi, or Bhojpuri, or Maghi. but they were writing books in Sanskrit. For example, you take the Shastrats between Shankaracharya, who is coming from deep south, to Mandan Misra, happened in Sanskrit, in Mahishi Graph.
See the essence of the factor what Amarnath ji is trying to tell. Sorry to interrupt Amarnath ji,
Yeah.
because sorry about that. See, the essence of the fact what Amarnath ji and Pathak ji is selling. Thank you, Brenda, for being here. So the thing is that he wants to convey that, like Chinese are speaking in Mandarin, like Germans, you will see they learn their scientific books also in German. So we have to start somewhere. But the problem is that, like I told in the beginning, like Gurumukhi is taught from childhood in Gurudwaras, like like English is taught in all schools. But from the Christian time, from the Mughal time, the thing is that English or Urdu was imposed on us. And the reason is that we Hindus never had unity from Porus Alexander time till the English time. That's why we kept on losing it. Even after the independence in 1947, the civil servants who did so much atrocity on the Hindus and our freedom fighters, they were kept as freedom fighters. Thanks to the politicians then. Why will they be kept as freedom fighters? Where will they be as civil servants? So at the end of the day, going to Cambridge, Oxford, everything was also a very prestigious thing. So what Deepak ji told was absolutely correct, that at the end of the day, we have to feed our children, we have to earn money and all that. But at the end of, we have to slowly, we have to again propagate Sanskrit. And like German and Mandarin people or Spanish people or Nordic people, whatever, or even Jews have interpreters who, or when Narendra Modi, whoever goes to speak in conferences, they have interpreters. If spoken in Hindi, they translate it. So similarly, we can have interpreters when we speak in Sanskrit. But yes, if we see the history, the science and all that happened, even every word, even Russia, Myanmar, till Afghanistan, Europe, Iran, everything was Bharatvarsh. We have to see. Even in Saudi Arabia was a part of Bharatvarsh, if you see. So the thing is that slowly we have been disintegrated so much. And now you see in India also, so many other states are being disintegrated. Managing 28 states and 8 union territories is not easy. We have already lost Saudi Arabia till Myanmar, South Asia, Singapore, Malaysia, Angkor Wat, all was a part of Hinduism. So what Amarnath ji wants to convey, see, me or Amarnath ji will go away. We shall lose our life, Pathak ji. But the next generation even find it very bad to tell I am a Hindu. Telling that I am a Hindu, even going to the temples, you have to go in a proper dress. I am not telling that. Even gents, men should go properly dressed. They have to have respect. So similarly, we have to start somewhere. It has already started till the present government is there. But we have to propagate more. Even in Germany, you will see Sanskrit is being learned by the Germans because they know the technicality. They know the essence of every shlok in Sanskrit. It is very important. Over here in the Indian High Commission, twice in a year, we are trying to revive Indian languages with the help of my friend Ragasudha ji. So recently, I had we had on the International Language Day, on which I very confidently spoke in the British Parliament in my language, Maithili, about climate change. They wanted me to tell about climate change. I told that fine, in Maithili I will tell. I gave them the translation. So we have to start the story as soon as possible. Otherwise, we shall lose Sanskrit. And we need to have interpreters. If we have interpreters, those who are doing Sanskrit honors, they will also get a job. Why will only Pandits become Acharya and all that and do only Panditgiri? We have to have scientists and all that in Sanskrit. And I'm telling you, if we learn Sanskrit via the Upanishads and Veds, we had already reached the planets and the universe and beyond that. We shall get the secrets out by Amarnath had shown once a Pandulipi. Those kind of Pandulipi we have to take out from the archives, and that will show the secrets, and we shall repeat history again. So we have to start somewhere, what Amarnath is trying to put. And unfortunately, we ourselves object to such things. If we object, then we have to accept the fact that we shall lose Sanskrit. Not only Sanskrit, we shall lose the other Indian languages, and we have to also convert ourselves, leave Hinduism, and convert ourselves to Islam or Christianity or other religions also. Because the thing is that we have to live, we have to earn a living. So if we are not unified amongst ourselves, if we forget the language which Amarnath ji is telling absolutely correctly, I fully support Amarnath ji. Then what will we do? We have to. We know it is difficult. But we have to start. Oh yes, sorry, I took some time.
Yes, yes. So, sir, as per my view, we need to start as like Gurukul education regarding popular rise of our Sanskrit language. And Amarnath sir, please unmute sir. Your sound is not coming, sir.
Okay. No. What I was saying, Pankaj, that don't start with Gurukul. Start with you and me. This revolution has to start with me. I have to start recognizing that I have a deficiency, that I cannot speak in Sanskrit, I cannot write in Sanskrit, I cannot do things in Sanskrit. And we, why I'm talking about all of us. We are the elite class. A common man is okay, but if you call yourself a cultured elite class, means you have certain responsibility towards your culture. And Sarath ji can explain to us that what a renaissance took place in Europe, and it changed it. Cultural revolution, you can call it. In 300-400 years there happened. Same thing we need in India. We need a cultural revolution. We have, like I said, that we had right from the when the Gautam Buddha came, from the Maurya period, some kind of foreign rules which have been against Sanatan Dharma, because Baudha were very much against Sanatan Dharma. You would not believe that for the 1,000 years, Pandits of North India kept fighting with Pandits of Buddha Mat for 1,000 years. Pathak ji can tell you about that one, and because the and to destroy the Sanskrit, they even diverted. They said that we don't want to do any more in Sanskrit work. All the Buddhists, when the Asoka became the ruler, he said that no more Sanskrit. We will do a local language of that time called Pali. That became the state language, and that's why all the work during the Asoka time started happening in Pali. Sanskrit was taken this way down. Okay.
One more thing, Amarnath ji. Sorry to interrupt. One more thing you will see. See, I don't mind what ISKCON is telling or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling. But only propagating Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, by you also, it's making, okay, you don't have to touch slok and tell Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. But that way you have undermined Sanskrit.
Yeah.
Why not tell? Even when I see people are doing Satnarayan Puja in ISKCON temple, they do Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, tell in Hindi, English and all that. That is fine, I don't mind, but that way you are undermining Sanskrit more to earn money in temples.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that we need to start a revolution from ourselves. When you, let's say for example, you are giving 15 minutes of your time for puja path, okay? Whatever slok you are trying to learn that time, you are reciting in the puja from the Gita or Ramayana or whatever it is, try to, if you consider yourself elite, a cultural person, try to get the meaning of that one in your head, understand, comprehend it. And that you can only do if you go in the roots of Sanskrit and you try to understand from somebody like Pathak ji or school or books or whatever it is, that what is the meaning of this. When we say that Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samveta Yutsava, what does it mean? Then once Pathak ji or somebody explain to you slok by slok what it is, then you will see that your enjoyment will increase like 100 folds.
Yes.
Than what you have simply read like a part. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samveta Yutsava,
Pathak is already doing.
Kim Karvat Sanjaya, like something like that. We do what we slok after slok, we keep doing like as if there is no tomorrow. And doing what? That is not. We have to understand. And that is what, why I have become such a fan of Sanskrit. Now I'm doing that. and I'm enjoying tremendously. So you can think like this. Right now, I am drinking Amrit, and I'm telling you guys that you are missing a lot. You can also drink some Amrit if you want to. So drink some Amrit,
Yes,
spend some time,
yes, sir.
put aside some of your time, and then start drinking. Learn all this Ramayana, nothing else. We need to learn Ramayana and Mahabharata, and if these two texts, we should be able to read in original Sanskrit, and we should be able to comprehend. That's my goal. And I want one day before I die that I can read Ramayana and Mahabharata by myself, and sentence by sentence I can explain to you guys in the meeting what is happening without any help of books or Mataji. So this revolution starts from yourselves.
I'm telling you one thing that when I propagated Premji, Bollywood hero, when I propagated the Mithilakshar in the whole of Europe, UK, so at that time, now I get 100 out of 100 in Mithilakshar, writing Mithilakshar. I check papers and all that as a Margdarshak Sarakshan. But when I was writing Mithilakshar, it became very difficult. If I leave one line also and one dot also in Mithilakshar, it used to become some other word. And every line, ma, you have to write like this. Yeah, you have to do. But it looked that I'm doing a painting. But but then the thing is that at the end of the day, Assami, Bengali, everything is Tirhut language. When I learned Mithilakshar, I could read Assami and Bengali, everything, little bit here and there, it was there. But I was finding it very difficult. But when I learned and the flow became, I started writing immediately. So similarly, but if you leave, I forget. So similarly, if you learn Sanskrit and the flow happens, like over here, I know various Pandits. They respect me a lot. Like Ajay Shastri is there, Pandit Ajay Shastri, very young chap, but he is gold medalist of Punjab University of Sanskrit. I will ask him to come sometime in this program, and you hear him telling Sanskrit. You will be astonished. He doesn't read books also. He's a gold medalist, whatever, but he tells everything fluently, and the way he speaks is incredible. So once the flow happens into Mandarin, they tell the oldest language. How come Mandarin is the oldest language when Sanskrit is the oldest language? So the thing is that writing anything, when the flow comes, everything becomes okay. There is nothing bad about it. If we don't do it, next generation is finished.
Yeah.
Next generation is already finished.
We have to have a desire. Once you have desire, you can find the solution, right? It's like I was giving you an example of Israel. Their language was almost finished. Hebrew was almost finished. And they decided that no, we have to reconstruct it. They got all the people from all over the world. They standardized everything, their grammar, their vocabulary. 1947, that's the start. Look at it. 1947 when Israel came into being. And from that, now they do everything in Hebrew. Do you think they are ahead of us in science and technology? You agree to it or not? So there was not even a country there. They established it, and then they are leader in the whole of Asia right now.
But I would like to thank Pathak ji very much. See, however hard he is doing, at least he is teaching children, and slowly, 4, 5. If you are teaching 4 children, it is very big, not easy.
Actually, you guys have children. Those of you who have small children, I encourage you that teach them Sanskrit. Your kids will be thanking you in future, because they will not lose. You teach them English. They learn in English in school. The Hindi they learn here by neighborhood anyway. If you are in say Pune or in Bombay, but Sanskrit they have to take little effort. But side by side, if they can learn, that will benefit them throughout their life. Because we have, as a young kid, we have capacity to learn many languages. We can do that one. Yes. Only problem is that, like in Europe, Taji can tell you that people speak 3-4 languages very easily everywhere. They go because small countries, they go from one country to another and they speak.
Yeah, one of my business partners over here, from child, he has been there from Tata. So he has got a German passport. So he knows Germany, he knows German, Dutch, then he knows English, Hindi, Punjabi. So when he goes to Amsterdam, Belgium, he speaks in Dutch, and Germany, so he knows fluently because he has his business there. and English. So you see,
Yeah. Premji is for bank. Yeah, banking exam. You know, in the banking job here, tailor job, all the tailor job, they want you to be bilingual. English and Spanish is the requirement. You cannot get a tailor job in American banks to deal with the public if you don't know the two languages.
So you all need to learn Spanish or Japanese,
That, that,
different kind of language, right?
but,
For
but
Spanish,
you know,
only
For
Brenda is
Spanish,
right now.
only Brenda is right now.
exactly. So Brenda will teach us. So it's very important that you learn that language learning. You don't lose anything. Do you lose anything by learning extra
No.
language? No, you don't. Right now, you know. So and we are using it as our religious language. See, the Muslims and British, they have been very much against. They wanted to destroy our culture. Do you
Yeah.
know what? I didn't want to tell that Hindi is not actually Hindi is a Muslim language. Do you know that? How it started? How Hindi started in India? Anybody can tell? If not, I'll
No,
tell you.
no.
Okay. So when the
So there is Hindi kind of, in Hindi there were kind of Muslim loves, kind of. Mubarak is the Muslim loves, right?
no, no,
So
Devanagari
Kamna
language.
is the Hindi.
Hindi language also Devanagari.
Hindi language also
Devanagari language.
Devanagari language, sir.
no. See. Okay, so I'm telling you the history. If you take 12th, 13th century, there is no Hindi born yet. I'm talking about 1250. Is there any Hindi anywhere in whole India? No. 1300, now it is starting. So 1300, what is happening here? 1300, like if you take Brajbhasa, in the Brajbhasa you have like Surdas and all that. Those people were, I think Surdas has composed his poetry later, but Brajbhasa was there. If you come to the eastern part, Avdhi was there. Okay, in our part, Maithili was there. Like that, Bengali was there. So you have all the languages in North India. Bundelkhandi was there. Rajasthani was there. Hindi is not yet born anywhere. Punjabi is there. Sindhi is there. Okay. So beginning of the 13th century, you have these local languages. Hindi is not yet born. Okay. That's number one. Now, now what happens is that Islamic invasion happens, and we lost first Sindh and then Punjab to the Muslim hand. And now they are trying to expand to the heartland of India. Okay, and so who is the king in the Delhi? 1198. Can you tell me Sanjukta's husband? क्या था नाम उनका? Prithviraj. Prithviraj, right? Prithviraj was the king of the Delhi, and Jayachandra was Kannauj. So in the Kannauj, they were speaking Avdi that time. In the Delhi, whatever the language Delhi was, probably it was Delhi was Brajbhasa that time speaking. Okay, so that is like 12th century. I'm telling you. Now, when the Muslim army has started penetrating in India, now they are coming in contact with different regions, different areas, different languages. There is no standard language of the North India, but they have to communicate. So Muslim army is penetrating. They get first Delhi, then they get Agra, they get Kannauj, they get Bihar, they go all the way to Bengal. So in that process, all the local languages and ancient Persian, and Persian is the language of Persia, of course, and Afghanistan is Pashto. So Pashto and Persian is now coming in contact with all the Indian language from Sindh to Bengali. Okay, and so imagine this is a big khichdi. Now a khichdi language is being produced at, by all these people coming in contact with each other, so that people mainly that time the job was the army job. Army job. You can be the army personnel. You can be the Kirani in the government job in Musalmani or in so all that. So a new khichdi language was developed called Hindustani, which was written in Persian script, or you can call it Arabic script. Script was not also the Devanagari. So that is the birth of now Hindi. So Hindi is born as a khichdi language of all these North Indian languages from Sindh to all the way to Bengal, and now, and then it is written in the Persian language or Arabic script. That's why only up to recently now you see, like in the time of independence, Munshi Premchand started writing from Urdu to Hindi. We call him now Hindi Upanyaskar. But basically he is originally a Urdu Upanyaskar, which is nothing but a Hindustani. Krishna Chandra, a Hindi writer. What happened? That when the fighting started, Hindu, Muslim, and all that, then basically they started writing in Devanagari script. Otherwise, they all were writing in Urdu script. You have a modern scholar, a poet, वो जो है क्या नाम है उसका, जो बड़ा अच्छा गाना लिखता है, उसका राखी का हस्बैंड, क्या नाम है उनका?
गुलजार
गुलजार
जावेद अख्तर.
They are all Urdu poet, and we call them Hindi poet too, right? When they write in the we call it Hindi, they call it Urdu. You go to watch any Pakistani movie, you can watch. We call it Hindi, they call it Urdu. So basically, what is Hindi right now is nothing but, you can call it that a language invented by mixture of all these languages, and originally it was a military boot camp. That is where it was developed, which was dominated by Muslims. So that's why it has the first script was a Arabic script. Later on, at the time of independence, Azadi ke ladai ke time mein, we changed to two scripts. Muslims started writing in the Arabic as they were before. Hindus writers started writing in Devanagari script, which is the script of, again, Sanskrit, not original script of the Devanagari. So Hindi even doesn't have their own script. Hindi has borrowed a script from Sanskrit. So those who are in for Hindi, tell them that you don't even have your own script, man. What you are talking about? You have borrowed the script from Sanskrit. You have borrowed all the vocabulary from Sanskrit. You have nothing of their own, which you can claim. Okay? So that's the birth of the Hindi, which people don't know. And so at that time when Hindi is born, you're in Vidyapati in Mithila was writing Vidyapati Kavita, and Hindi wala absorbed him. Hindi wala Vidyapati is being taught in Hindi classes in master's level. We know that. So Maithili Kavi Vidyapati is being taught in the Hindi at the master's level, because all the different Kavi we had, or all the literature, whatever was existing in the northern India, they call it Hindi now. so that's how Vidyapati is not anymore a Maithili Kavi, he becomes a Hindi Kavi. If he becomes Hindi Kavi, Hindi people will say, oh, Vidyapati is ours. Bengali also say that Vidyapati is ours. But his claim is completely false, because that's what I tell all the time. How can you claim Vidyapati is Hindi? Vidyapati is a Maithili.
मैं 1 मिनट निकल रहा हूँ, फिर अगर बीच में होता है तो फिर ज्वाइन करता हूँ, ठीक है? तब तक
आइए चलता रहेगा अभी ये. So that's why it is. So we all have to take effort. We are, and especially if the Brahmins don't try to learn Sanskrit and calling Sanskrit at their own language, who else will? Tell me, right? If all the Brahmins in India determine that no, Sanskrit, we have to say proudly that Sanskrit is our language. We are our forefathers were speaking Sanskrit. They wrote every little thing in Sanskrit only. That is the common heritage we have. All our forefathers, they communicated in Sanskrit only. So, don't we want to connect with your forefathers? If the first step, if the Brahmins of India unite on this one, that we are going to learn Sanskrit, you see what will happen. But our brain has been washed, we have been brainwashed, and we have to revive it. If we don't revive it, you have, Sanskrit has 14,000 years of culture in everything. I mean, why Americans love India? Anything they go to find, they find the first Indian language, Sanskrit. That is what they respect. This country is basically a people of merit. To have merit, they don't do anything else, right? That's why we Indians are doing very good in America, because they respect our merit, our knowledge, right? And so everything they discovered, my gosh, I mean, mathematics especially, whatever mathematics they think about it, it has already been taught in Sanskrit long time back in India. You say that how advanced they were, that they have already physics, basic physics already is done in India, and they were way ahead. So when they look at the classical language, there is no other language in the world which is so rich with different things. Any branch of study you take is there. So I mean, and not only that, learning. Hindi Vyakaran is not consistent at all. If you try to learn Hindi, it's just like a hello and you throw it. That is also Hindi. If I put hello on this side, that's also Hindi. But in Sanskrit, no. There is a grammar. Thanks to our rishis. First was the Panini, then Katyayan, and Pathak will tell all about it. They fixed the grammar, and that's why now Sanskrit, when that grammar was fixed, from that time, everybody has to follow the grammar. So same communication, same grammar rule. Not like she goes and he goes. Nothing like that. You will not see two different things.
Anissa Gachati.
Yeah. If you say Gachati, it will be Gachati, Tishtati, Bashati, Ramati. Everything is standard. So all I gave you only few lines of the grammar. So you see the Tita Ant in the Sanskrit class, right? Tita Ant in present tense.
Tita Anti Sita Tha Ami Ava Ama.
Exactly. So this thing you can do in Sanskrit, but do you know this doesn't exist in any other language of the world?
Yes.
That is the beauty of the Sanskrit. This beauty doesn't have any other language. So once you learn this standard formula, Tita Anti, and all that present tense, now all the grammars, all the what we call dhatu, we call it dhatu part, present tense, you do it, and so 2,000 dhatus, there are I think 6,000 or 7,000 dhatus, 2,000 or 6,000 dhatus have the same rule now applying. When you want to say present tense, singular, present tense, plural, you will follow the same pattern. So all your sentences are going to be identical. Is there any better communication than that possible? That everybody speaks for 5,000-7,000 years the same way? Like you cannot change. So that's why no other language like us. Do you know now even the Shakespeare's books now you cannot read because the grammar of the event has moved from Shakespeare time to now. So Shakespeare is only 16th century poet. It's only like 700 years, right?
Yes.
At the most 700-800 years. Now English has moved. Now, if you want to read Shakespeare, you have to go through so many side notes. All this, see how the language has been changing. Then only you can read the. But in the Sanskrit, I was telling you that here I sent a text to you all, and I hope now I want him to translate for us in Hindi. और maybe मैं पढ़ता हूँ, आप बोलते जाइए उसका translation. आप तैयार हैं पाठक जी? जरा सुनना हम चाहते हैं.
सर, I have already sent you WhatsApp.
धीरे धीरे बोलिएगा तो सर.
पाठक सर.
अच्छा हाँ, हम उसको टेक्स्ट भी कर दिए हैं.
सर, आपको WhatsApp किए हैं सर हम भी.
हाँ, अच्छा ये देख लीजिए, अब यहाँ पर से देख के बोलिए. हम पढ़ते भी हैं और ये है लाइन इसका. दशरथस्य कुपितस्य ब्राह्मणस्य वचनं शृणोत. ये पहला सेंटेंस है.
पाठक सर आपको WhatsApp वो थोड़ा सही रहेगा. ये कैमरा में देखना थोड़ा भारी.
Alexa light on. आप वो शेयर कर दीजिए ना. Can you पंकज सर शेयर इट?
Yes sir.
वो शेयर कर दीजिए ताकि पाठक जी उसको देख करके हम लोग को बता सकें. That will be good.
भेज दिए सर. पढ़ रहे हैं पाठक सर, पढ़ रहे हैं.
अच्छा मिल गया हमको, ठीक है. हाँ
So Brenda, you enjoy this session?
She is learning. She is going to be Indologist very soon. She is learning about so much about India now.
Yes, it's completely different the letters in Sanskrit because the shape of the letters it's totally different.
Yeah, I'll send you some basic one, and I'll teach you. You can be expert in the alphabet of Sanskrit very soon. I'll teach you. It's very simple. So while Pathak ji is getting ready, let's see here. So basically for Brenda, we write also from left to right in English. Just like English, we write left to right. There are many languages where people write from top to bottom also, but we don't do that. We write from left to right, just like in English.
Prem, you want to say something? You are totally silent till now. You are totally silent till now.
दशरथस्य कुपितस्य ब्राह्मणस्य वचनम शृणोति। दशरथ ने उस क्रुद्ध ब्राह्मण के वचन को सुना।
Good. Acha. So I will translate in English what he said. So let me go word. So the first word is Dasrathasya, Kupitasya. So Dasrath and Kupitasya. Kupit means Brahman. Brahman was a very angry Brahmin. Dasrath, the king, he heard his sentences. That's what is the first translation. Okay, next, sir.
किंतु कालेन तं सापम विस्मरति, but the time being he forget the उसके श्राप को वो भूल गया था.
Yeah. So basically, what second sentence is saying that the incident happened long time back, and he forgot when he was ruling the Ayodhya in his kingdom. He had basically the context is that he had gone for hunting and he has killed a Brahmin rishi, and that incident he has forgotten about it. So now we are in the third sentence. Okay, बोलिए तीसरा sentence.
अयोध्यायां भार्याभिः सह सुखम वसति राज्यम करोति च, और वो अयोध्या में अपनी पत्नी के साथ सुख प्रसन्नता पूर्वक रह करके राज्य कर रहे थे.
अच्छा. So he's saying that king Dashrath, he was ruling his kingdom and living there with his wife, his all his wives, and he was very happy and he was a very good ruler. अच्छा. अगला sentence.
निरपश्यकम दुखम, लेकिन but he has one things of sorrow. उनके पास में एक राजा, तो प्रसन्न राजा को एक चीज का दुख था.
Okay. So Raja ko king was happy, but he has one dukh, sorrow.
One sorrow, that is he has no any son.
Okay. So you heard, Brenda, that he has no children. Okay. आगे बढ़िए.
ततो ब्राह्मणैः सह स्व प्रजायैः यज्ञम करोति. After that, with the help of Brahman, they do with the help of Brahman and his people, they perform a yajna.
Okay. So we're saying that with the help of the priests, that king, he decided since he was not having any.
The priest and the जनता, उनके जो जितने प्रजा भी थे.
Yeah. So since he didn't have any heir, he was concerned, and so was the public. So basically, he decided to do a worship called yag, a type of worship called yagya, just for Brenda. And in that, all the priests as well as the public participated. Okay. हाँ, ठीक है. अगला क्या है?
अथ कालेनो पुत्राणाम चतुष्टयम उद्भवति. After some times उनको 4 पुत्र की प्राप्ति हुई. After some times they got 4 sons.
Okay, so you already heard that after some time, after he finished that yagya or a special puja, then he was blessed with the 4 sons.
4 sons.
Yeah.
And his name it was Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughan. उनका नाम रखा गया.
So basically, These four were named in ancient tradition. They were named by the priest and parents, and they were named Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughan. So all the four princes, that was their name. Okay. Next.
Okay.
पार्थिवस्य पुत्राः सुंदराः शांताः वीराश्च। ये सभी बच्चे देखने में सुंदर, शांत और ब्रेव वीर थे।
Okay. So Pataji is saying these all four kids, they were beautiful. Now you are going into a little bit like they are not only toddler, but kind of child.
हिंदी में शब्द आता है हृष्ट पुष्ट। हृष्ट पुष्ट शरीर जो था शरीर सबका हृष्ट पुष्ट।
All these four kids, children were good health, healthy, beautiful, peaceful in nature, and they had zeal for learning the warrior skills.
warrior skills.
Brave.
Next.
तेसु उन सबों में ज्येष्ठो रामो गुणो श्रेष्ठो भवति। तो उन सबों में राम सबसे श्रेष्ठ, सभी गुणों में राम सबसे श्रेष्ठ थे।
Okay, so basically Ram was the oldest among all four. GST means that he was the oldest, and Tesu Jestu Ramo Gunai Sreshta Bhavati. And Ram was not only the oldest, he was also very talented and absorbing the new skill. He was the best. So you can say that Ram was the oldest, and he was the fastest learner of the new things, new skills.
And for this reason, Tasmat Nripo, for this reason, Rame Snihiyati Visheshata. For this reason, Ram was very lovable for King Dasratha.
Okay, so what he's saying is that since he was very sharp in learning new skills, especially like administration, military arts, scriptures, everything, he was very sharp. I mean, so for that reason, he was the most favorite son of his father, the King Dasrath. That's what he's saying. Okay, so
Yes.
Brinda, this is about let's call it from 5,000 years old text, roughly at least 5 to 7,000 years old text. You see that we are able to read it, and now we can go back of that time. That when I look at it, I see the many things. I see the society of that time. I see the literature of that time. I see what kind of words they were using, how good they were in communication. And I'm amazed to see that they are, if they are not better than us, they are not even worse than us. They could communicate, man. Look at it, how they are explaining the small paragraph. This is just a small paragraph of Ramayana in Sanskrit, written by Valmiki, and how small paragraph has been explaining to us such a good picture of the society of that time. So the point is that Sanskrit is important, and all of us, those who call themselves Brahmin, they have to learn it first. You have to value it yourself. If you don't value your things, how do you expect you can market it to somebody else? You cannot market it to somebody else. Prem, can you? If you don't value it, how can you market it? So our job is that we want to explain that Sanskrit is very important to everybody. Most important language of Sanskrit is actually the one of the biggest contribution of India, or very noblest contribution of India is Sanskrit. It has given a new dimension to the whole world, a one eye, you can call it. Sanskrit influenced all the way from China, Japan, all these countries. A lot of books were translated from ancient India, and then they were taken to China. So that's how they have. There is a huge cultural influence of India into China. You believe it or not? And that is due to Sanskrit. All right, I think we are going beyond the time now.
Brenda, you want to say something? You want to say something?
I said enough, so now Pathakji has to say something, and Brinda has to say something, and Prem. I'll not say. I'll keep quiet now.
Yes, Pathak. Yes, Pathak, sir.
हमको तो बहुत खुशी होती है और लगता है कि जीवन सफल हो रहा है कि कुछ आप लोगों से कुछ सीखते हैं, कुछ पढ़ते हैं, और संस्कृत के लिए यदि हम कुछ भी कर सकें तो एक भारतीय होने के लिए बहुत बड़ा गर्व होगा। और सबों को छोटी छोटी चीज, जैसे संस्कृत में, जैसे मैं जो बच्चे को पढ़ाता हूँ, अमेरिका में बच्चे बोलते हैं कि कोई आते हैं तो वेलकम नहीं, उनको बोलो स्वागतम, उनको ये कम हियर मत बोलो, अत्रा गच्छ, इह तिष्ठ, इस प्रकार से छोटे छोटे वाक्य। और जब बच्चे बोलते हैं तो मैं लगता है कि मेरा जीवन सफल हो रहा है।
Yes, sir. So Prem, you want to say something? Prem, you want to say something? Because you are also listening a lot regarding Gita language. Gita in Sanskrit, English, doesn't matter.
Maybe Pathakji, if आप time दे सकें, maybe we should do that Sunday Gita class here in this meeting. That would be good. At least not many. We should do like 3-4 slokas. That will be good. If we can do that. Pankaj, do you think it's possible that we do like 2-3 slokas every meeting? And then we branch out to in the beginning we have 2-3 slokas Bhagavad Gita, and then gradually then we move to other topics, whatever you have. We take like 15 minutes or 15-20 minutes and a prayer, call it a prayer from Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So, and then suppose if I am not there, Pathakji not there, anybody can start. You have the Sanskrit text book and you have the English.
मैं आ जाऊंगा सर, मैं ऑनलाइन आ जाऊंगा.
Yeah. In fact, I just found a book in my library, which I have a bad habit of buying the books, and many books I have bought which I never read. So now I'm going through that. So I found a Maithili translation of the Bhagavad Gita, and it is done by none other than Kavi Pradeep Ji. He was a very, very famous poet, Pradeep Ji. So he translated from Sanskrit to Maithili, and that book is available in the market. And I'll share with you guys. So my goal is to read that book, and then I have one more book. I have English translation, which Pankaj and Prem you guys sent me, Bhagavad Gita as it is. And now, of course, I have the Sanskrit text, which already I had here before, and now I have one more Maithili translation of Bhagavad Gita, not Bhagavad Gita as it is, Bhagavad Gita. And so we are lucky that Pathak ji hai hum logon ke saath. And Sanskrit आंदोलन में जुड़िए आप लोग. Sanskrit and Matribhasha, we are for both. We are saying that Matribhasha is our important bhasha. We should learn. So Matribhasha and English, these are the two languages. English for काम काज के लिए, मातृभाषा घर में बोलने के लिए, और संस्कृत के लिए संस्कृत. Hindi, if you learn, is good, but it is optional, not needed. You can live without Hindi. कोई जरूरत नहीं है हिंदी सीखने की. अगर कोई नहीं सीखना चाहे तो हिंदी के बगैर आपका काम चल सकता है. आप ट्राई कीजिए वहाँ पर. You try to speak in English or you try to speak in Maithili, Maharashtra. You see if it works or not. You nod your head that if you don't know Hindi. I would like you guys to do some experiment and tell us how the experiment goes. I am going to do this experiment next year in India when I go.
So I'm really thankful, Amarnath sir, the way you are, giving heart and soul to learn Sanskrit. So this is the right time to accumulate all this knowledge from Vedas or from Vedanta to learn, these kind of
Yeah.
basic things. So it is good thing, sir. I'm really appreciate.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to do everything, right? You just need the basic, right? Whatever is, like, for example, Bhagavad Gita we all recite, Durga Saptati Path we recite. But the difference is that we simply recite, we don't go after learning what actually is said in that one. And I know it's not easy because we are always rushing, we don't have time in the modern days. And that's why now I'm in my 70s, I never had time. Now I'm finding time. So I'm telling you that you don't have to be like me in 70s to discover that, oh my gosh, I can learn Sanskrit. You can start now and you'll be way ahead. You can learn it. You can give little time on the weekend here and there. And there is so much of resources available. You cannot believe it. You can learn it.
Yes, sir. So this
Chalo,
is
sir. Yeah. It's very good day. It's a very good day that we discussed on the mother tongue today. So, और पाठक जी हैं, पाठक जी का हम लोग लाभ उठाएं. He is ready to teach us. He can. Let's start with the Gita next week or what. I mean, जो ही लोग रहें, कम से कम 2 श्लोक भागवत गीता as it is में पूरा explain किया हुआ है. It is in English. Can you guys send that Bhagavad Gita also to Brenda? That English translation you guys have, Bhagavad Gita as it is, so that she can.
Yes, I have Gita in English as it is.
Yeah.
So I am sharing that too in the group.
Yeah. So send it there, so that way she will have it. And I'm going to find if there is a English translation in PDF for Ramayana and Mahabharata. If I find one, then I'll share that also.
I have Ramayana. Ramayana in English. Something.
Huh? What?
I have one Ramayana book. I have one Ramayana book in English.
Okay, then what you are waiting for? Just share with us.
Yes, sir.
Anytime you have a new knowledge, my rule is very simple: share with each other.
Yes.
And then try to figure out what is in it.
Pathak sir, you want to say something more? Or Brenda?
किस पर सर?
And I think we can also ask Brenda to teach us how to, do Spanish. Like
Yes.
Brenda, I know only 2-3 words, like "Cómo estás?" Can you explain to them what is "Cómo estás"?
Can you introduce yourself in Spanish? Right now? A small introduction in Spanish.
Can you hear me? Yes, I can. I can do that. Okay. It's like hola a todos. Hello everyone. My name is Brenda. Mi nombre es Brenda. I am
Wow.
living from Mexico. Yo vivo en México. I studied the career computer system engineer. Yo estudié la carrera de ingeniería en sistemas computacionales. Actually, I
Slow
living with
down.
okay. Okay. Okay.
Continue.
Actually, I live with my mother and little brother. Actualmente vivo con mi mamá y mi hermano pequeño. I working in a company international. Yo trabajo en una compañía internacional en el departamento de sistemas, in the department IT. And my current position is IT engineer. Mi actual posición es ingeniero de IT. But for me, many words is similar in Spanish or English.
Yes. Yeah. So So that's why I gave that analogy of that Latin and modern European languages. Just like you see that English and Spanish have very common words. Same thing is with the North Indian languages, modern languages. They have common words, and just like all the modern European languages, they have sprung up from Latin, that is their mother or root language.
Yes.
Same thing for Indians, it is Sanskrit. And Brenda,
Yes.
for your information, nowadays they call Sanskrit and Latin sister languages. Do you know that? Sanskrit and Latin are called sister languages, and all the languages from Europe to India are called Indo-European languages. So there are, as I was telling earlier, there are many universities. You can pick a subject if you are in the literature, like you can pick a subject for doing your PhD and masters, everything. You can thesis Indo-European languages. If you search Indo-European languages, you will see thousands of papers and books on that written, thousands of books, and it started from 1860. So 1860 to 1960, and now, so how much is 140 plus 20, 150 years. See, so the story I was telling earlier, that Britishers, when they came to India, they were shocked to see that connotation of the languages are so similar, and they gradually discovered, and then research has been ongoing since 150 years, and now they are trying to find. So they are trying to now construct that from the Sanskrit and Latin, both languages. Now they are trying to construct a root language they call Indo-European proto-language. Now they are trying to construct that language. That how was the root of Sanskrit and how was the root of Latin spoken, and what was the root words. So that is where is a lot of work happening right now. So you can see how integrated we all are, language wise, from Europe to all the way to India. Not many people know about that one, but now you know it.
Yeah. uh, I can say that, you know what is a Catalan?
Catalan?
Yes,
No.
Catalan is a language.
Oh, Cantonese. That's
Se-
even the Chinese. Cantonese.
no, Catalan no, Catalan. In Spanish is Castellano.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Mexico was conquisted for one person, Hernan Cortés,
Hmm.
and they spoke the language Catalan or Castile.
I see. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Castile, and
So
the Mexican transformé or adopting these characters and begin a new language. This is
yeah,
a Spanish.
yeah. So right now, what is happening is in the world, Brenda, that many languages are disappearing. All the smaller languages, they are disappearing, and then big languages are taking over. Just like English has taken over in many countries. Same thing in India. In North India, Hindi is taking over, killing many local languages. That's very sad, and same thing is
I'd like a
happening in
merge.
all over the world.
I'd like a merge. I'd like a merge, sir.
Huh?
I'd like a
What?
merge. Like a
Yeah.
merge.
Yeah, and it's continuing, and it appears that you cannot stop it. It's such a powerful blow to other local languages that local languages are not able to survive. They, I mean, like all the Hindis wala in India from the UP, like for example, now those who are proposing and telling you, forcing you Hindis, they have lost their mother tongues. Like Braj Bhasa, I was giving you example, and Awadhi, Bundelkhandi, these were and Bhojpuri. So I mean, these are the 3-4 dominant languages. Uh, they all have died now, and Hindi has, you know, from that area, Hindi has now sprung. And now Hindi is trying to kill all the neighboring languages of the other states. Like in Bihar, it has expanded. It has already, in Bihar, it has eaten up Bhojpuri and Maghi as a breakfast. Now Hindi wants to eat Maithili for the dinner. you know and once the Maithili is digested by them, then next language will be like Asami and Bangla. They will go after Asami and Bangla. Right now we are protecting Asami and Bangla in Bihar because Hindi is there is a middle language there, like which we speak in Bihar. But once this barrier is done, once we are converted completely 100% into Hindi, which one day will happen, unfortunately, then next onslaught will be on Asami and on Bangla. And then those two languages will disappear gradually, just like. But first, Maithili will disappear. Our language will first disappear. It's already at the verge of disappearing.
Sir, second thing is Maithili language also popular in Nepal. Nepal is other country.
So that's why, just because it is also popular in Nepal, it will survive for a while, because Nepal Hindi is not the language there. It's the Nepali or Maithili, right? So it will survive, and also it is going to survive for a while because it is a language of the villages. Cities we convert quickly into Hindi, right? Or school going children, college going children, we start learning Hindi and we forget about Maithili. But villages are still using Maithili, so it will survive for a while. But then Hindi's onslaught is continuing, like, because the kids in the villages are now learning Hindi, just like you and I learned, and we moved out, and next generation, third generation, they all are learning one by one, and now practically we all in Bihar have become bilingual. We were speaking only one mother tongue. Now we have become bilingual. We speak our mother tongue and Hindi, both. So that's the story. So I think we had a very good discussion today on mother tongue. I don't know how you picked Pankaj. That's a very good topic today. And you saw the two perspectives, from the Hindi Bala's view and from the local language. I was representing today actually the Tamilians. Tamilians and Bangladeshis. Do you know that Tamilians had opposed Hindi in 1950s very strongly, and same thing happened in Bangladesh. Bangladesh in 1950s, I think one day we talked, Pakistan was trying to push Urdu on Bengalis. They said that Urdu is the only national language of Pakistan. So they tried to push in 50s, early 50s in Bengal, like all the offices, just like India, all the offices in Bengal, they started working in all on a sudden in Urdu. So basically, there was big hue and cry in East Pakistan, and then young students, they protested it. In fact, some of the young kids were killed by Pakistani forces, and that's why in the UNO, Mother Tongue Day is celebrated, and that is the celebration of that day when Bangladesh massacre happened for the language. That day is considered Mother Tongue Day in the UNO. So yes, there has been a fight, but unfortunately, those who are fighting, mostly they lose. Same thing in Africa. There are so many languages in Africa now, they are disappearing. Only few will survive, just like the story we see in India. So this phenomena is happening. Ultimately, you will see that in the world. To me, it looks like that only maybe English will survive one day. We all will be speaking maybe 2,000 years from now. English is the most strongest language, so it will survive, and gradually other languages will die. It will be so unfortunate, but it's like that's what is happening.
Yes, demand in our society, sir.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So thank you, everybody. I think we had a great day, great useful day today. So let's continue some other time. I'm going to drop off. If you guys want to continue, feel free to continue. Thank you. Thank you, Pathakji. Very nice
Thank
to see
you
you.
for education. Good night,
Yeah.
Patrick and Pankasha.
All right, Pankaj. Then I think time to close the shop today. Bye. Good night. Good morning.
Good night.
Thank you.